Hello, welcome. It's Tuesday Tips Live with me, Phil Morse, here in the Digital DJ Tips studio. It's great to be here. Loads and loads going on, loads we want to share with you. The big topic today is how to get in the minds of pro DJs, and I've added in brackets so you can mix like them. That's the whole point here. We want to understand what these guys and girls are doing up there, what it is that gets those awesome crowd reactions, what the secret tools are they're using that we might not understand. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, how to get in the minds of pro DJs so that we can mix like them. So before we get started on that, if you are new to this, you're not sure what goes on, we're here in the Digital DJ Tips studio. We are the people behind Rock the Dance Floor, which you will probably have seen around the place, one of the best-selling books on how to DJ, but we're also behind Digital DJ Tips, the DJ School. And of course, that means that we teach thousands of DJs. Our Tuesday Tips Live is our way of giving something back every week in a live environment where you can say hello. I've got all your comments coming in live from both Facebook and YouTube here, and you get to join in. And so we pick a topic every week, and it's a lot of fun. Spend half an hour just chewing the fat, talking about whatever it is that we've decided we're going to do this week, and yeah, you guys get to join in. So if you're new to this, that's what happens. You've stumbled over a great live broadcast, but make sure you subscribe or click the bell, do all the stuff that you have to do so that we can let you know when these go live. If you're watching the replay, you probably missed the live, in which case what I'd like you to do is do those things, and then we can let you know as well. And if you're one of our regulars, awesome. It's so good to have you here. And I want to say a few early hellos to the regulars before we get stuck in. So hi to Dominique, and hi to Franklin, to Kevin, to Jean-Pierre, who says, hello from Miami. Good to have you here, Jean-Pierre. Hi to Rudy. Hi to Leonidas, who I'm going to guess is Greek, but maybe I'm wrong. Hi to Sasha. Always good to have you here, Sasha. To Mario, to DJ Blazon, to Jan or Jan Mott, who says, it took a while, not even sure if the YouTube channel is working. It should be working. I'll double check it in a minute anyway. So yeah, lots and lots of you here. Good to see that. Habla en español, por favor, says Jordan. No puedo hablar en español para una media hora, perdona. But yeah, there's one sentence for you. Hello, Scott. Hello to Faye and Karen, good to have you here. And hi to Joey from the Digital DJ Tips team staying up late in the Philippines. Right, that's enough for our early hellos. I will check that we're live on YouTube. If we're not, nothing I can do about it now. You're going to have to put up with this only on Facebook. Switch over to there, but it looks like we are. So hello to Andrew and George and Latino, English Music, and Benny and Steve and Martin and Hollis and Rodney and Ash and Michael and Saro and Young Moda and Soundbug and everyone else over there on YouTube. We're really busy today, which is just what we want to see. Okay, we are talking about how to get into the minds of pro DJs so that you can mix like them. That is our topic today. And so before we talk about the easiest way we know of breaking down what they're doing and learning it for your own DJing, I want to talk to you for a little bit about what really goes on in a pro DJ's mind. So I'm going to tell you a story now. When I was a full-time pro club DJ and nightclub promoter, part of my job was to do the warm-ups in the club. And once I'd done the warm-up, assuming that the guest DJ had turned up, I would hand over to the guest DJ, and I would usually just hang around. I'd usually just move a bit to the right, start doing the lights. We didn't have a lighting person that was on an auto program, and I knew how to use them, so I'd normally just be the lighting guy, just stood there, chatting away, making sure the DJ had a drink and had everything they needed and were relaxed and watching them do their stuff. And we used to generally book people we liked, and we used to book them again and again. So we used to get to know these superstar world touring DJs. And I used to just sit there and watch them. And I used to look at all the tricks they were doing. And I used to ask questions. And this all went into my 20-something brain. And I spent over a decade doing that. So there's very little that a DJ could do up there in the lights in the big DJ booth that I've not seen them doing or that I don't understand like that. That's just because that's the world I've been in for so long. So at the same time as all that, I kind of worked out a lot of the things that people who are looking at big DJs on festival stages and in the clubs doing, people who are looking at these DJs think that aren't actually true. So if you ever want to emulate, if you ever want to mix like people you see on YouTube clips or on Boiler Room clips and all that kind of thing, and you think, I'm never going to do it. It's like a foreign language. I don't understand what they're doing. They're so many steps above me. I just can't see a route to being anything like them ever. And it's a bit this makes you a bit despondent, I'm going to tell you today a few things, a few home truths that will hopefully help you to see that these guys and girls are just humans, and actually what they're doing is something you can do. So the first thing that I want you to understand is that what they're doing up there in those booths is not spontaneous. They are not suddenly thinking this mix is going to go with this a cappella, is going to go with this instrumental, is going to build nicely in 20 minutes to dropping a new version of it that I played a bit earlier. And then that track I teased at the very beginning, hey, I can stop the music, everyone will cheer, then I can play it at the very end. No, this stuff is choreographed. Now, the best DJs can do a mixture of improvising and choreography. The best DJs, they know their stuff so well that even though they've done it again and again and again, night after night after night, they can alter it, right? That's cool. But if you think that they're going up there and pulling all these awesome tricks night after night and it's all completely different from what they did the night before, and there's no way you can ever get there, guess what? You don't have to, because that's not what they're doing. It's a little bit like, think of, you go and watch some live comedy, right? You go and watch Ricky Gervais on tour. Now he's doing the same thing every night, right? And it's the same with DJs. They have the same tunes, they come out of their virtual box or their crate in the same order, and they're doing the same thing every night. I always remember the first time I followed a DJ around city after city. I was so upset that they were doing the same thing. But that's what they all do, right? So the first thing is, DJs, by nature of doing it a lot and also doing it city after city after city, don't have to change it up too often. They're playing to a new audience every night. You do. If you've got a residency somewhere, you've got to change it up all the time. They've got it easier than you. So bear that in mind if you're giving yourself a hard time over not being able to come up with amazing mix after amazing mix all the time, because the big people are not doing it either. The second thing I want to share with you is that they have got access to music that you can't get. So the first time I learned this was when we were talking about Sasha and John Digweed's early mixes on labels like Northern Exposure and Renaissance. They were the first people to put mix CDs out there. But what Sasha and John Digweed did was they used to re-edit and get exclusive versions of the tracks they wanted to use on their mix CDs, as they were at the time, before they even mixed them. So in other words, if they wanted a version of a track they loved, but they wanted to go in a certain direction so they could mix another track in, they just got one made, or they made one themselves in their studios. You and I can't do that. So we can get close. We can join a download pool like DJ City or BPM Supreme, and we can get DJ re-edits, we can get acapellas and DJ tools, we can try. But again, if you see someone up there in the lights doing all this clever stuff and you think, wow, how are they managing to mix this track that I know really well into this other track? If I try it, I can't do it. I can't find the right place to do it. Throw it out of your mind. They've got re-edits. They've got stuff that they've had made or made themselves to make that easier. And of course, a lot of people now in the at the top of the DJ world are DJ producers as well, nearly everyone. So they're making their own music. So they're making re-edits of the stuff that they play. So again, you shouldn't beat yourself up if you can't find the exact versions they're using, and you're going to have to compromise a bit when you're trying to DJ at home, like people you've heard out and about. And the third point I want to share with you here is, it's a really important one. So people come to venues to hear the big DJs. They've done the job before they play a single track. They've been booked because people know their music, and people come to the venue to hear them. And that means that everyone's on their side anyway. And unfortunately, mortals, you, me, we can't always guarantee that. We're playing to an uninterested crowd, and we've got to win them over. We've got a hard job to do that the superstar DJ hasn't. So if he or she is playing tracks and you're watching the crowd and watching them thinking, you know, why can't I get that crowd reaction from my DJing? You could do exactly the same mix and it wouldn't get anything like that reaction. If that DJ up there had to go and play the gig you're worried about, or the gig you have to play, they'd probably find the same issues going on as you in their heads about, oh, you know, I'm not sure what's going to work. I thought this blend would go well, but they're not really bothered. The point is everyone's on their side anyway, but there's a downside to that for them. And the downside is that they're expected to do a certain thing. And if they don't, if they deviate slightly, you know, if they don't play their big hits, they're not going to leave that place alive. They're very constrained in a way you're not. So there's a bit of light, you know, a bit of light at the end of the tunnel there for you. The grass isn't always greener. It's nice when you have got to work on your crowd, because when you've got them in your hands, you can do what you want. But a superstar DJ who's got to play the tracks that they're known for, has got to play the tracks they're known for. They've got to play the sound they're known for. And again, when I used to book DJs, our club was a very free club. It was quite eclectic music, and it was small, and people trusted us. So when kind of big DJs arrived, we always punched way above our weight in the people we could attract. When they arrived, we were like, right, let your hair down, go to the back of your box, pull out the tracks that you've been scared to play, and play those tonight. The crowd will love it. And they always did, and they were like, oh, it's so nice to be able to do this, because normally we've got to play what's expected of us. So bear that in mind. So if you've just joined us, we're talking about how to get into the minds of superstar DJs so that you can mix like them. We talked about why what they're doing up there might appear harder to you than it really is. It might appear that they're doing magic, but it's not really magic because one, it's not spontaneous what they're doing, believe me on that. Number two, they've got access to music you haven't got access to, and that music's been chosen so that it sounds good when they do what they've practiced. And number three, everyone's on their side anyway, which is a good thing because, well, for them, because everyone's going to go mental if they just walk up there and wave. But it's not a good thing sometimes because they want the freedom to do what you and I get to do, which is play what we want, and hopefully it'll work, you know? So this is just a bit of an insight. And the reason I've given you this insight is that once you understand these people are human, once you understand they put their trousers on one leg at a time in the morning like everyone else, once you understand that actually they're mortals and they started where you are, then it makes trying to emulate what they do, trying to listen to their mixes and their transitions and have a go yourself that much easier. Okay, so before we move on to talking about actually the practicalities of copying DJs, copying your superheroes and getting their mixes down on your gear, whatever you're playing. By the way, the gear we got here today is the Traktor Control S4 Mark III, for those of you asking. Lovely little controller. We'll be powering this up and having a bit of a play at the end of the working day today, as we like to do on these days. And that's quite a nice pair of Pioneer little over-ear, on-ear rather, HDJ S7 headphones in white. So there you go, trance headphones, I like to call them. So that's the gear we've got here today. Before we move on, I just want to give a few shout outs to people. So over on YouTube, love your videos, by the way, says Latino 96.3. That's awesome. What do you think is the best controller under $700? Big question. Get our gear guide. My team will put a link to the gear guide below. That's got everything you need to know about that. Biggest challenge to me is harmonic mixing when changing keys so it doesn't become monotonous, says Soundbug. Don't always use harmonic mixing. Forget it. Just play what you want to play sometimes. As long as you don't overlap the musical information, there's no need to stay in key. Crowds like to hear key changes. Why do you think every track on X Factor has a key change in it? Because crowds like it. You don't have to play in the same key all night or keep it matched all night, Soundbug. Sidechain Blaine says wise words. And I'm just going to quickly jump over to Facebook and just say a few hellos to people over there as well. Hi to Del San, good to have you here. Hi to Eric and Juanmi and Leonardo. And everyone else who's piling in down there as well. So, all right then, let's move on. So we're talking about how to get into the minds of pro DJs in order that you can emulate them, that you can start to mix like them. So we've already talked about how it might be a little bit less magic and more kind of practice and just the fact that they are the pro DJ that makes what they're doing look more difficult than it might be. Now let's talk about how to actually copy some of their tricks. So we've got a process for this. It's what we teach in our mix deconstructions. I'll tell you a little bit about those in a minute. And the process is something like this. So what happens here is someone will send us a shaky clip they've done on their iPhone or something from a gig and say, how do they do this? Tell me. And so this could be could be a shaky clip that you took on your phone. It could be a couple of Shazams from a night out. It could be whatever, and you're trying to piece it together. It's always best if you can find something on YouTube with filming over the decks like we've got here, like this, and so you can see what the DJ is doing. Obviously that's the best, but also maybe a Boiler Room. Boiler Room, if you don't know Boiler Room TV, it's a great station where you can watch DJs close up and see what they're doing on the decks and so on, and they've got hundreds and hundreds of DJs in there. So that's another place that you could look. So you want to find some footage, preferably on video, but definitely with audio, but video as well is really good. So that's the first thing, find some footage. The second thing is find the tracks they're playing. Now this can be really hard. Now what we've done before is just literally Shazam the TV, Shazam the computer monitor while we're playing these YouTube clips over and over again. And you keep trying, sometimes you get it. Ask friends, get on internet forums, whatever you can do, Google lyrics, whatever you can do, but you've got to try and find those tracks. And as I said earlier, you might just find you can't find the exact versions. And if you can't find the exact versions, you're gonna have to make do with what you've got. One of the things about trying to emulate your heroes is have a go and get to 80%. trying to do it perfectly, it's not going to happen, and it's not really what it's for. So if you can just get close with the music, that's awesome. So once we've done that, we've found a clip, we found some film of our DJ hero playing. Hopefully, as I say, it's a film. We've got the decks, we've got the audio, we know the trick we want to do. Just pick one trick, forget the rest of the mix, pick the one you want to concentrate on, get the tracks involved. So now we've got to start trying to practice it. Now you might have an idea anyway, in which case great, load the tracks up, have a go, see how far you get. But sometimes, especially with some of the more difficult stuff you see, it's a bit hard to work out what's going on. So one of the tricks that we use in our mix deconstructions here is slowing it down. Now there's two ways to slow it down. The best way, if you can get your video clip downloaded and you can get it into Final Cut Pro or any professional movie editing software on your Mac or your PC, you can slow it down. You can stretch the clip to like twice the length, but it'll do what Ableton does when you stretch an audio clip. It will preserve the pitch and the tone. So in other words, it's just slower. And it's a bit like pressing the tempo lock, the key lock on your DJ controller. You press your master pitch is the word I'm looking for, and then slow this down. Well, then it's going to get slower, but it's not going to get lower, right? And that's what we want. So you can do that with video. So now you've got a version of the video that's got the whole technique, but the music's just slowed down, but it's not got really low. And that's a really good thing to play over and over again and try and practice with your own decks. And you can even slow the tracks down on your decks to the same speed as the video. So you can do the whole thing at half speed. And then you can slowly speed it up as you're getting better at it. And it's a good way of kind of practicing as a drill. So you want to try and slow it down if you can, especially if it's a difficult trick you're trying to copy. There are always substitutes. So look for the end result rather than the exact skill. So if you're watching someone on Nexus 2 system, a big Pioneer system, you probably can't do it on even something as awesome as this here. You can't do everything that you can do on a Nexus on this, but you can do stuff on this that you can't do on a Nexus. So the point here is we want to find a way of getting to the end result. And forget the root. If you can't scratch, there's scratch tools. If you can't scratch, there's vinyl tools built into the effects on a lot of controllers. If there's a little scratch and you just want to emulate it, use a vinyl tool. No one cares. Only the purists care. We want to get the result here. We want to understand what the DJ did and why. I'm going to get onto the importance of what I just said. We want to understand what the DJ did and why. That's the real reason here. I'm going to get onto that in a minute. So use the tools in your DJ software to try and get the result, no matter what gear and software you're using. And the final point is you must always record your attempts to copy transitions from other DJs. Because you don't think it sounds good when you're doing it, but hey, you listen back to the recording, you might see a couple of times that you did it that actually sound brilliant. And you're like, okay, well, I've got a real boost here. That's actually all right. And you go back and do it again and again. And then by listening to the recordings and trying again, you're going to get close. So we've talked about how you've got to get into the mindset and realize that these people are just human. They're not making it all up on the spot. They're using special edits and so on, and everyone's on their side. That's why it seems awesome when you're watching them live. And we've talked about how to actually start to copy other people's transitions, which is try and find one you want to copy, try and find good audio and video, try and get the music in any way you can. Once you've got those things, play with it. But if you have to slow it down, you can use another way of slowing down, by the way. Just get the audio straight off the video clip, put it on your decks and do what I just said. Just set the master tempo on and slow the damn thing down. You can actually do it that way, straight in your DJ software. And then we just want to record what we're doing. And don't be too perfectionist. Try and get to 80% and use any tricks you can to do it on your gear. That's kind of what we've done over and over again at Digital DJ Tips when we're teaching people. So I've actually got something very special for you to end off today's broadcast because everyone likes a freebie, right? I've got something completely free for you. Before I bring that to you, and it's related, by the way, before I bring that to you, I just want to dive into the comments. While the comments are loading, I just want to cover a quick question that people have asked. Why? Is it all right to copy other DJs? Is it all right to copy their tricks? Of course it's all right, people. It's how you learn. I watched the Avicii movie on Netflix the other night, and he was saying, I probably spent my first 1,000 tracks just trying to copy other people. And then slowly my own voice kind of emerged as a producer. It's the same as a DJ because you ain't going to get it right. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to use the stuff on your gear that the DJ you're trying to copy hasn't got. And out of all that messing around, out of all that trying and failing to get close to what they're doing, guess what? Your own style jumps out. And what happens is that feeds into your music as well. So next time you're DJing with your own music, you might just find yourself thinking, I'm going to do that trick I saw, insert DJ's name here, doing. And then suddenly you've got your own style, which is based on the stuff you admire and the stuff you've tried to do yourself. So yes, copying is brilliant. Copying is the way we learn. Just watch kids. They spend their whole lives copying as they're growing up. That's the way you learn. That's the way you grow up and become the DJ you're going to be. So don't worry about copying. Copying's cool. Right, hello to Airbase. Hello to Airbase is saying, yeah, don't worry about the 0.1% of people who are kind of like criticizing you. They aren't dancing anyway. They're standing to the side watching your every move. That's true. So my team have given you a link for the gear guide, which I spoke about. Hi to Neil. Good to have you here, Neil, always. Results always beat technical ability. 99% of the audience will never think I'm having a great time because that was a technically difficult transition. I love the way you put that. So awesome. So I'm just scrolling back to try and find something that I haven't, that my team hasn't answered. So my team are doing a very good job of answering you guys and girls there. So that's awesome. Eric says track selection is the most important thing of all. Yes, it is. Track selection is so much more important than mixing. Mixing is important. Mixing is always the icing on the cake, but it's not hard to be able to mix cleanly from one track to another. Mixing cleanly is good enough, and everything after that, it's a bonus. It's a lifetime's work. But track selection, you've got to get it right from the off. So really good words there. Hi to Bugs, who's just joined us. Hi to Youssef, who says, thank you for this live. Can't wait to see what you've got for us in the free bit. That's cool. I'm gonna tell you in like literally 30 seconds. I just want to jump over to YouTube, give a bit of love there. So YouTube then, just quick hello before I move on to the closing thing I have here. Wow, busy on YouTube today. Francisco says clean EQing is where it's at. Yep, agree with you, Francisco. EQing is very important. Hello to Lenford in Jamaica. Good to have you here, Lenford. Good morning to Michelle in New York City, who says, big fan of your work. So that's awesome. Good to have you here. And thank you for making my buying decisions so clear, says Francisco. Well, that's what we are here for. Awesome. So hello to Pri, who says, I actually feel, and Pri, by the way, is an awesome DJ. Check out Pri Yon Johnny's Peter Piper routine on YouTube. You just search Pri Yon Johnny, Joni, Pied Piper. Pied Piper, that's always my mistake. Peter Piper routine. It's a classic routine from Jazzy Jeff, and he's done that. And he actually is live here. He says, I actually feel honoured when folks try my routines. That's how I meet some of my students. So there you go, right from someone on the top of their scratch game there. It's okay to copy stuff. Lovely to have you here, Pri. Hi to Ben and Martin, who says, I always learn something from watching you. That's good. Ash One Mill says, what I want to know is how come the beats are halved when you're mixing in from house to jungle? We could spend a long time on this kind of question. Basically, drum and bass is very, very fast, but it's not quite half. But anyway, as I say, I'm not going down that rabbit hole today. I have got something for you though. So this is it. I've just been talking about copying other DJs and how copying is good and how copying is the best way to improve as a DJ. And I've talked about how the superstar DJs, kind of what they do appears to be beyond your reach when really it isn't. And I was really keen to start today's broadcast with that, because if you haven't got this opinion of yourself that's high enough for you to think I can do this stuff, you won't do it. So I really wanted to get you, and hopefully if you take nothing else away today, it's that you can do some of the stuff you see big DJs doing. I promise you can. So having said that, the process of finding stuff that DJs you admire have made with good enough video and good enough audio for you to then start trying to copy it, finding the tracks, getting the tracks, then literally technically slowing it down and actually watching again and again and again to find out what they're doing, and then having a go yourself and thinking, am I deviating too much? Is this too far from the original, or is this all right? Or I'm just not sure what to do on my particular gear to copy that thing I can't do that I've watched them do on CDs or whatever. And then finally hearing a recording and saying, that's all right. That process, that what we call mixed deconstructions, is not easy. It's not meant to be easy, but it isn't easy, and we're not going to pretend it is. But we have got very good at doing these and are taking students through them. And in fact, we've made 37 mixed deconstructions. They're like 20-minute mini courses, 2 or 3 videos, maybe a handout, and all the stuff I've talked about, slow motion, annotations saying, right here, the DJ is doing this, and now they're doing this here, and now they're doing this here. So you can watch along in slow motion with these things and go, okay, I get it. And then we talk about how to do it on your gear, and we always do it on controllers like this kind of thing. We never do it on on Pro Gear or rarely. So we mix it up. We'll do Traktor, Serato, Virtual DJ. We'll always tell you how to do it on the stuff that you haven't got and kind of make it universal. And these mixed deconstructions are really, really popular. We've been doing them for nearly 2 years now. And they're all inside our product called Digital DJ Lab, which is our subscription product. It's a DJ training, community and coaching program that we run. Some of you may even be on it. We've got several hundred people in Digital DJ Lab. It's been closed for like 6 months. Well, it's open right now. And there are 37 of these in it, which I want you to have. And I want you to have a look at them because it might just be that you watch one and think, oh my God, I need the other 36. Well, here is what you can do. You can go to this URL, djtips.co/trylab, and we're going to give you a whole month inside Digital DJ Lab to find out for yourself how awesome these things are before we charge you. It's a rolling subscription. There's a couple of levels, so it tells you about it on that URL. It tells you about the different levels you can join on. But if you want to join the hundreds of people inside the lab for a month and see what it's about, you get all these mixed deconstructions. So you can get in there and have a go yourself. And they're from some awesome DJs. Yamato, Roger Sanchez, Carl Cox, James Hype, people like that. They really are, they're really, really good routines that you can copy and get this kind of, get past the blocks in your DJing by copying other people. That's the key here. So I'd like you to have a go. Digital DJ Tips only opens this every now and then. And we are closing this in a couple of days. So if you'd like to have a go, djtips.co/trylab is where to go to get a month free trial of our Digital DJ Lab product. Now, it's not only mixed deconstructions, by the way, but you'll learn everything else about it when you click on that link. We'll show you everything else that's in there as well. So that's it. We're done for today. Go to djtips.co/trylab if you want to have a look at that stuff. But otherwise, I hope I've inspired you a bit to have a go because this stuff is not as hard as it thinks. And those big DJs have got a lot of things stacked in their favor that you and I don't have. So cut yourself some slack. Enjoy your practicing. And I hope you managed to nail some of those routines that you've been seeing people do or that you've seen them do on Boiler Rooms or on YouTube. I know you can do it. Okay, we are done for today. Get good, get out there, folks, make the moments, and I will see you again very soon. Until then, have a good one. Bye for now.